Hey there, global citizens. Whether you're tuning in from Sao Paulo, Shanghai, or Johannesburg, this story is about all of us. Remember BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, the awesome acronym squad that promised to shake up the world stage and rewrite the rules of global power? They were the cool kids on the block, the rising stars, the champions of developing nations. For a while, it seemed like nothing could stop their momentum. They were going to fight for a fairer world, challenge the old powers, and make globalization work for everyone, not just the rich guys. People everywhere started to believe that maybe, just maybe, the global system could be more balanced. For a while, it felt like BRICS was on fire. Headlines buzzed with excitement, and every summit brought new promises and bold declarations. They even launched their own bank, the New Development Bank, to rival the World Bank and give developing countries a bigger say in global finance. They talked about creating their own currency to challenge the US dollar's dominance, a move that could have shaken up the entire financial system. They held these big, fancy summits where they talked about cooperation, innovation, and a brighter future for billions of people. The world watched, hopeful and curious. But lately, the BRICS party has been losing its groove. The energy that once electrified their meetings now seems to be fading, replaced by uncertainty and doubt. Remember that old saying, "Too many cooks spoil the broth"? Well, it seems like BRICS might be adding too many ingredients to its recipe for success. Each country has its own priorities, and sometimes those priorities clash. The latest sign of trouble? Their foreign ministers met in Cape Town and couldn't even agree on a lousy joint statement. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. If they can't even get the basics right, what hope is there for the big stuff? It's like that awkward family dinner where everyone's trying to pretend everything's cool, but you can practically hear the forks clinking with tension. Smiles are forced, and the conversation is thin. So, what's going on with BRICS? Are they falling apart at the seams, or is this just a rough patch? And if they do unravel, what does it mean for the rest of us, for global trade, politics, and the dream of a more equal world? Buckle up, folks, because things are about to get interesting. The next chapter in the BRICS story could change the world as we know it. Picture this, sunny Cape Town, South Africa. The city is buzzing with energy, the ocean sparkles, and Table Mountain stands tall in the background, watching over everything like a wise old guardian. Beautiful beaches, iconic mountain views, and a room full of BRICS foreign ministers, all gathered together but locked in a tense standoff that you could practically feel through the walls. The plan? To emerge from that high-stakes meeting with a joint statement, a show of unity, a message to the world that the BRICS nations are still best friends forever, ready to take on global challenges together. But guess what? They failed. And not just a little bit, this was a spectacular flop. This wasn't just some minor disagreement about who gets the last samosa at the snack table or whether the coffee should be black or with milk. No, this was a full-blown diplomatic meltdown. Voices were raised, tempers flared, and the atmosphere was thick with frustration. They couldn't agree on anything important, not the war in Ukraine, not the state of the global economy, not even, it seemed, the color of the sky outside the window. Okay, maybe they agreed the sky was blue, but you get the point. The disagreements ran deep and nobody was willing to budge. Now you might be thinking, so what? Politicians disagree all the time, isn't that just business as usual? What's the big deal here? Well, my friend, this isn't your average political squabble or a routine disagreement over policy details. This is BRICS we're talking about, supposedly the rising alternative to the old dysfunctional world order, the group that wants to shake things up on the global stage. If they can't even agree to issue a basic statement, it kind of throws their whole reason for existing into question. What does it say about their unity, their vision, or their ability to lead? It's like going to a Beyoncé concert and finding out she's lost her voice. The main event is missing and everyone leaves disappointed. Sure, you can still enjoy the lights and the dancers, but without the star of the show, it's just not the same, is it? The BRICS no-statement situation is a big deal, people. And it's got everyone talking. The world is watching, and the pressure is on for BRICS to prove they can actually work together or risk fading into irrelevance. Let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? The war in Ukraine has thrown a massive wrench into the BRICS machine. It's like trying to play a friendly game of soccer when a rhino decides to join in. Things tend to get messy. See, BRICS has always prided itself on its non-interference policy. Basically, they're like, what happens in your country stays in your country, no judgment here. But the Ukraine war has made that stance pretty much impossible to maintain. Russia obviously wants BRICS to support its special military operation, yeah, that's what they're calling it. But other members like Brazil and India are trying to walk this tightrope of neutrality, condemning the war in general but not wanting to directly criticize Russia. It's a diplomatic balancing act that would make even Simone Biles dizzy. This division on Ukraine is a major reason why the BRICS ministers couldn't agree on a joint statement. It's become the defining issue that's splitting the group right down the middle, and nobody seems to know how to bridge the gap. Okay, so we've established that BRICS is going through some stuff. There's a lot of tension bubbling under the surface, and it's not just about economics or politics. It's about who gets to shape the future of the world. The stakes are high, and every country at the table knows it. But here's where things get even more interesting. The latest BRICS meeting wasn't just another round of polite speeches and photo ops. This time, the gloves came off, and some real talk started happening. Brazil, the samba-loving, soccer-playing powerhouse of South America, decided to use the Cape Town meeting to speak its mind. They weren't content to just sit quietly and nod along. They wanted to shake things up and make sure their voice was heard loud and clear. And boy, did they have a lot to say. Brazil came out swinging, not holding back on their frustrations with the way things are run on the global stage. Brazil's foreign minister, Mauro Vieira, basically called out the entire world for being greedy and unfair. He didn't sugarcoat it. He said what a lot of countries have been thinking but were too nervous to say out loud. He slammed protectionism, which is a fancy way of saying countries hoarding resources and looking out for themselves. This kind of behavior, he argued, is making it harder for developing nations to grow and thrive. While he didn't name any names, everyone knew he was talking about those economic giants who like to throw their weight around. You know, the usual suspects, the countries that always seem to get their way no matter what. But Vieira didn't stop there. He took things a step further and challenged the very structure of global power. He also demanded changes to global institutions like the United Nations Security Council. According to him, these organizations are stuck in the past, still reflecting the power dynamics of a world that no longer exists. He's tired of the same old powers calling all the shots and wants developing countries to have a bigger say in how the world is run. It's about fairness, representation, and making sure everyone gets a seat at the table. Talk about speaking truth to power. Vieira's words definitely made people sit up and pay attention, sparking conversations both inside and outside the summit. Brazil's bold stance has shaken things up within BRICS. It's forcing the group to confront some uncomfortable truths about its own role in the world and what it really stands for. They're basically saying, hey, if we're going to be a real force for change, we need to practice what we preach. That means not just talking about fairness, but actually making it happen, starting with themselves. Whether the other members are ready to listen is another story. But one thing's for sure. Brazil's message has put the spotlight on the need for real reform, and the world is watching to see what happens next. Hold on to your hats, folks, because the BRICS party is about to get even more crowded. Rumors are swirling that more countries are lining up to join the club. We're talking big players like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and even Argentina. It's like everyone wants a piece of the BRICS action. On the one hand, expanding BRICS could be a good thing. More members mean more clout, more influence, and a stronger voice on the world stage. It's like forming a supergroup of emerging economies ready to take on the world. But here's the catch. Adding more voices also means more opinions, more agendas, and potentially more disagreements. Can BRICS maintain its unity with so many different perspectives at the table? Or will it become a chaotic free-for-all where nothing gets done? It's a tough question, and only time will tell how BRICS will handle its newfound popularity. One thing's for sure, the future of this group is anything but certain. So, we've talked about the disagreements, the tensions, and the challenges facing BRICS. Now for the big question, can a group so divided still be a force to be reckoned with on the world stage? It's like asking if a band with 5 lead singers, each playing a different tune, can still make beautiful music together. It's not impossible, but it's definitely going to be a challenge. The lack of a joint statement from the Cape Town meeting sent a clear message. BRICS is not the united front it once seemed. This internal division could weaken its ability to challenge the existing world order, negotiate trade deals, or offer a real alternative to Western-led institutions. In other words, a fragmented BRICS is good news for those who prefer the status quo. But for those hoping for a more multipolar world, where power is more evenly distributed, the cracks in the BRICS facade are a worrying sign. So, what does the future hold for BRICS? Will they be able to overcome their differences and emerge stronger than ever? Or will internal divisions cause this once promising alliance to crumble? The answer, my friends, is not blowing in the wind. It's in the hands of the BRICS leaders themselves. They face a choice: cling to their differences and risk irrelevance, or find common ground and fulfill their potential as a force for global change. It's like that moment in a superhero movie where the team is about to break up, but then they remember why they came together in the first place. Can BRICS have its superhero moment and save the day? Or will they succumb to infighting and become another cautionary tale of missed opportunities? Alright folks, it's time for you to weigh in. What do you think about the future of BRICS? Are they destined for greatness, or are they headed for a messy breakup? Head over to the comments section and let me know your thoughts. Do you think BRICS can overcome its challenges and become a real force for change, or are the cracks too deep to repair? I'm eager to hear your perspectives on this crucial issue. Don't be shy, share your insights, and let's get a conversation going. That's all for now, folks, but this is just the beginning of the BRICS saga. Stay tuned for more updates and analysis as this story continues to unfold. And remember, knowledge is power. Keep yourself informed about global events, engage in thoughtful discussions, and never be afraid to ask questions. The future of our world depends on it. Thanks for tuning in, and keep those brain cells buzzing.